So the Battle of Jutland actually looms very large in the history of the United States Naval War College. As early as September of 1916, the Naval War College ran an experimental game which I think is pretty much derived from what they were running in terms of the Battle of Trafalgar. And they adapted that game, to do the Jutland game using naval attaché reports, newspaper accounts to reconstruct the battle. That we're doing the Battle of Jutland 100 years later, I think is quite appropriate to examine how we've been training generations of naval officers to think both strategically, operationally, and of course tactically. And the lessons that were derived from the Battle of Jutland after the First World War were the lessons that were very important to understanding the personality and strategic perspectives of the five-star admirals who won the Second World War.
So it all started with the idea of putting together an exhibition to celebrate the 100th commemoration of the Battle of Jutland. So my staff and I and Rob Doan at the museum started looking through all of the material that we had in the collection related to the Battle of Jutland. And not just the Battle of Jutland, but also sort of the things that came out of it. So all the student theses we have, Nimitz's, King's, Spruant's, discovering that they all talked about the Battle of Jutland, all the lectures that were given, and then realizing that since wargaming is such a big part of it, looking to see what we had about doing war games with the Battle of Jutland, because those are the things that the students did. So when we were looking in one of our finding aids for the war games, I found this item that said war game outfit. I was like, I wonder what that is. Pulled out the big box, about this big, opened up the lid, and there it said, Mark III wargame outfit with 3 little black ties. Open it up, and there's all of these pieces. So we unpacked the whole thing and realized that we had all of the pieces from what they created in 1930 for a game. So that then gave us the opportunity to recreate those based on what everyone knew that they already knew about gaming the Battle of Jutland, to take it back into the 3 dimensions and allow the wargaming department, the museum, with the support of the archives, to actually put on the event.
Well, the reason we're interested in an event like this is the applicability of the history to the future of the United States Navy. And this exercise laid open a number of the command and control issues that faced both the British and the German at that time. And many of those issues are still with us today. The innovation initiative versus centralized command and control, the pros and cons of each one of those methods of fighting. And they played out in this game today.
The timeless lessons of designing a fleet to fight the battle that you think you want to fight, and because that's the way you've always done business. I think that's a lesson we have to be very careful of, and particularly the United States today has the monopoly on power projection with its nuclear aircraft carriers and what have you. So it has a certain vision of the opponent that it would like to fight in an ideal world, and that opponent may or may not share that same vision. People will be looking for alternative ways of dealing with it. So I think Jutland shows that the danger of being predictable and following the traditional approach, which was decisive battle, line of battle tactics, with these very modern ships. And that, I think, is the greatest lesson.